Hello gamers, and welcome to the 6th Robocraft Experiments Update video. It's actually my 3rd Robocraft Experiments Update video, but this is the 6th experiment update. Today I've got 7 new parts for you, as well as some minor changes and a couple of bug fixes. Let's start with the parts. There's been a whole new part added called the piston. It works as you'd expect. It starts out as a single block and allows for 4 blocks of extension. There are 3 versions of it: the servo piston, the stepper piston, as well as the pneumatic piston. Using a lever will allow you to set the length of extension or rate of extension depending on what type of piston you're using. Much like the servo axle and servo hinge, the servo piston will allow you to set the length of the piston. The stepper piston will allow you to set the speed at which the piston extends, and so will the pneumatic version. They've also added the telescopic joint, which is basically an unpowered piston. It will fall with gravity, and it cannot be powered. To go along with the pneumatic piston, they've also added a pneumatic version of the hinge and axle. The pneumatic parts work similarly to the servo parts. However, instead of being extremely slow, as the servo parts are, they're slightly faster. The developers call it breakneck speeds. However, it is not that. The next part that's been added is the damped spring. The damped spring works much like a normal spring, except where a normal spring can be flexed, the damped spring cannot. It can only be compressed in one axis. Now I'd like to move on to the minor changes. If you made it this far, you probably like this. So, consider hitting like. That's the end of the shameless plug. Now to the minor changes. The first change is that Leo will no longer enter his falling state as easily. This means you should be able to jump on slopes and drive your cars more easily. The next change is that holding shift while in flight mode will toggle Leo back to walking when he touches the ground. They've also added a little sound effect that plays when you place parts in invalid locations. Breaking news! Local developer Robocraft has released an update post. There has been a mini patch strengthening all parts. This concludes breaking news. Next up is the bug fixes. They fixed a bug related to large quantities of servos. They fixed a bug that resets the inventory count of some parts to max after leaving the simulation. They fixed a bug with resting objects on the end of axles and other joints that would cause them to remain idle instead of falling down. And they've also fixed a couple of instances where joints, particularly large hinges, lose their connections. If you're having any other issues, or you find any bugs, please report them to the Robocraft Experiments subreddit. There's one final known issue, which is that the middle section of the piston or telescopic joint has no collision. Not with Leo, not with any other objects. And while this may be useful for many contraptions, it's not exactly realistic. And I'm sure what they're going for is a little bit of realism. We do have a quote from the developers about this known issue, which is, "We really wanted to get these powerful new parts out to you as soon as possible and felt that this wouldn't be an issue that blocks the use of the parts themselves. We're still working hard on getting this functionality in, but it will likely be ready for Experiment 7 instead." Anyway, that's it. Please like if you liked, subscribe especially if you liked, and comment with any constructive criticism, excitement, or anything else you'd like to share. Now, get out of here. No, seriously, get out of here. Get out of here. Are you slow? I said get out of here. Leave. Do it. Oh my god. You're seriously staying here? You're just doing this to get on my nerves. Why are you here? There's nothing else here. There's literally nothing. If you're gonna be like that, then I'll just if you're gonna be like that, then I'll just leave myself. See you later.